Hi everyone, Tina Gale here with My Scrappy Ideas. If you followed along on my blog, you know that I've recently moved my scrap studio to a larger room, and I've also been going through an organizing phase. So I thought I would take some time to update you, to show you some of my new space, because I've come a long way since the first video where I set up a scrapbooking space, and to walk you through some of the organization ideas that I've come across, some that I've evolved through, and where I'm at now. So today we're going to start with paper, and I'll show you how I've organized mine and some tips on how you could organize yours as well. So first off, I have 4 of the Recollection paper cubes that you can get from Michael's, and I turned them sideways so that my paper is vertical and not horizontal. That way it's a lot easier to pull in and out without crinkling your paper. It's easier to flip through to kind of see what you have. This first cube is by manufacturer. This is something new for me probably in the last year. I used to normally just organize the way the rest of this is. So let me start with it and then we'll go back to there. So this second cube starts with patterned paper by the Rainbow. And I used to only have all my patterned paper together, and then all my cardstock was in another cube next to it. Recently, when I moved down, I revamped that, and so now I have my cardstock and my patterned paper together. So if you look at this first little section, this is all patterned paper, and it's like red, orange, and yellow. Then the second one is red, orange, yellow cardstock. So that way, when I'm looking for paper, it's real close together and I can pull it all out at the same time. The next one is blue and green, and you'll notice I didn't say purple because I don't scrap purple. But I do have a tiny bit of cardstock that's purple that came in stacks of cardstock that's, rainbow stacks. So I do have a little bit. Then I move on to black and white. So there's black and white patterned paper, white cardstock, and then my gray and black cardstock, and then I have all of my neutral cardstocks. The last little section that I have is I have one section that's specialty paper, like glittered. I'm probably going to be pulling that out and going ahead and mixing it in with the other. It's just my other sections are full, so I obviously need to scrap some so that I have room to fit it in over there. But I think it will be better that way, and I'll remember to use it and pull it out maybe when I'm not thinking about using glittered or specialty cardstock. Then the last cube is organized by theme. I have not that many sections. I have a boy theme, that's things that I would scrap for my son and only my son. And I also have a section for girl the same way. Paper that I've bought to scrap specific events or memories that I want to get down of my daughter, but I'm not going to use for anything else but that. And I have a small section that's for home because we've remodeled the home that we're in. We're still remodeling. So I have paper that I've bought up to do with that album. Of course, a birthday section. The third one is all Christmas. I'm a bit obsessed with Christmas paper and product, and I've actually purged more than what I have left, and I need to purge again. The last one is like chipboard, cork, metals, just different odd things. So let's go back to the very first cube. When I started, I bought everything that was on sale. I went to Michael's with my 40% off coupon and bought just because it was a good deal. I've definitely moved past that. I buy more manufacturers' collections and lines of papers. I found different ones that I really like. I used to try to stick it in with my rainbows, and I was finding that I didn't really like that because when I wanted to use it, I knew exactly what manufacturer I wanted to go to. So I pulled it all separate and made one cube just by manufacturers. Because I really think most of this other paper, as I use it, it's not going to be replaced. It's all going to go back to manufacturer, or it will be by theme. And they're divided so that I can see them. I don't have labels for particular collections. It's only manufacturers. Because most of the papers from a particular manufacturer go together well. So I do sort them, and they're in there by collection, but I don't have dividers for them. I have one more cube that's just divided in half, and I do have it horizontal over here. And that is my paper stacks that I buy, and I do use them, so I have not purged them. But I write the name, the manufacturer, and the name of the paper pack on the spine, and then I just set them in there. So for labels, what I ended up doing for most of them are, I had packages of really old, cheap Hobby Lobby page protectors. I took those, and you can put a piece of cardstock or something in there, and I have labels, but then I can put all of the scraps down into the page protector. That way, when I'm using that line or whatever, I can look in here for paper before I go cutting up a full sheet. So that's how most of mine are divided up. And then I've just typed on the label the manufacturer. I don't have labels on the rainbow cardstock and pattern paper because it's pretty obvious what it is. For my themed pattern paper, I did the same thing. I have page protectors. I just haven't put my labels on yet, so I just have sticky notes with the labels or with the themes that I decided to go with, that I had paper with. And how I decided was I started sorting out paper, and I just spread it all out and started putting it into categories to see how I would think. You know, some of my girl paper, someone else might organize some other way, but I know how I'm going to scrap what photos I have. Okay, so let's talk about what you can use for dividers. I'm a firm believer in you don't spend more money on organization than you do scrapbooking. Everything I've done starting out has been as cheap as possible, things that I have on hand, and not going out and spending an exorbitant amount of money. If you don't have recollection cubes, you can reuse priority boxes. Okay, so this is, if you'd watched the old video, you probably saw a lot of these. So this was a priority box that had been shipped, and so that's how I used to sort my paper, and you could just line those up on a shelf. You can also buy the containers at Michael's and Hobby Lobby to store your paper in. Okay, so for dividers, you can take the backs of your paper stacks. If you have index tabs like this that are sticky, you can use those and just stick those on there. I've done that. There's also these little great post-it note tabs that are repositionable and sticky, and that's what I have now, are these tabs. I buy them in all different sizes, and so each one of my manufacturers or themes are labeled with one of these. If you stick it with the opening up, put your tab over here, it's going to stick out past your paper far enough in your shelves. And then you can put your scraps in there. You could put your embellishments, your flat sticker sheets down in there. Another thing that you could use is if you have file folders, you could stick these, put your label right on the end of here so that it sticks out, put that in, and then you could put your scraps in here so that they're not getting lost, but yet they're accessible. If you wanted a bigger pocket, Close to My Heart sells these True Fit folios, and it's just a 12 by 12 file folder, so you could do the same thing on it. You could put your label on the side and stick it in there. Close to My Heart also sells one other organizer. It's a 12 by 12 paper organizer. It's just like our stamped envelopes. I love these. I put projects in these, papers. So I've also have a few collections, like my Disney collection that I have a lot of, baby album, because I'm working on a baby album right now for my daughter. So things like that I have a lot that I'm going to be using and pulling in and out. These are a lot sturdier, they're going to last. And so I have these stuck in my shelf with the paper. So those are just a few ideas. I hope it helps. Hopes it gives you some ideas of how you could get more organized in your space. The more organized you are, the more you can create. Thanks for watching.